All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. So, today's guest is someone we are really excited to chat with. And after a quick lesson from Jade Skillen on the podcast that we did with Jade, I now definitely know how to say her name properly. It's Catherine Parnell.
Oh no.
I was just waiting to see the reaction. Kat, as we know her better, is an absolute beast. She's an Elite 15 doubles Hyrox athlete. She competes with Jade, and she's also just smashed out an incredible solo time with a 101 in Birmingham recently, which is just insane. On top of all that, she's a coach and a massage therapist, so she really knows about Hyrox and endurance training from performance all the way to recovery. So we can't wait to get into this one and find out more about Catherine Parnell. Welcome, Kat.
Thank you for having me.
Well done, Faye. I'm impressed you didn't slaughter the name. I mean, I maybe did, but I did get like a proper lesson from Jade when I said, I think I called you Parnell. And she,
The thing is, my name's been Kat for a good 30 years of my 34-year-old life. And I think it was because it was a last minute sort of sign up with Chicago with Jade. And he just took my ID, so my driver license, and just wrote the name Catherine down. And I didn't like question it because I was just happy to get sort of signed up with her. And then, yeah, and then it came up on the board and I was like, no,
yeah, because that's exactly
every time my name came out. And I was like, oh my God. So I really hope that if we do manage to go and get into Elite 15 again, that my name is like downgraded by 4 letters, so it's back to Kat. Because every time my name was pronounced, I was just like, "Who's that?" I was like, "Oh shit, it's me."
Because I think that is exactly what Jade said. She said you were running around, and she looked up at the board, and she was like, "Catherine, who's Kat?" As in, who the hell am I racing with?
Yeah, it's weird though because it's an identity thing, isn't it? And I think I've been called it like obviously Kat as it's short playing football and like in my life in general. Some friends call me KP and Pans and stuff, but Catherine's never been. Well, it's just been if I've been told off at home by like doing something in the house, like when I was younger. But so it was weird. Yeah, it was a weird kind of identity thing. Like I'm not Catherine. Like that's not really me. So yeah. Anyway.
Well, you're not in trouble. We
Yeah.
welcome you to the podcast, even though Faye called you Catherine. But maybe a good place to start is then with the football and how you kind of got into sport, and then I think that's how you know Jade, and then you paired up in a doubles team. Maybe you could talk us a little bit through that and how you ended up racing together.
Yeah, so I think just from a young age, I was always kicking the ball around with the boys in the sort of school playground. I was very much a tomboy, and then joined like a football team as soon as I could, really. And back then, it was very much you were playing with the boys until you were sort of 11, 12, and then female teams sort of came about. But it was very much you were wearing the boys' kit, and it was like it wasn't really a thing. But then joined Ipswich Town and met Jade. We played for Suffolk together. And we were both kind of the smaller girls that were on the wings, and we're just our characteristics were very the same. We were very like buzzing and just yeah, just happy to play football. Really, I was very much like an endurance sort of bunny since day one. I think Jade was as well. We were always just one of the chat boxes on the team bus and stuff, and so we always got on really well. But I then sort of lost track, really. I mean, social media has been brilliant to kind of touch base with people, especially in team sport. Because I think with female football, if you didn't, at the time that we were sort of playing, if you weren't, it wasn't really a big thing. And you had to have, I mean, a lot of even the England team when I was growing up had to have full-time jobs as well as playing for England. It wasn't like an actual job. So I think a lot of the girls sort of you kind of wish that you're in your 20s now sort of thing growing up in the sort of the team sport that female is now. It's come along so much that yeah, yeah, I was sort of glad to sort of touch base with Jade and converse with her more and be able to now share on a different journey as such, because I miss that team. I've kind of went off on this trajectory of doing a lot of kind of solo sport and very introverted stuff, with running and everything. But there's nothing like that changing room banter and that sort of team connection and feeling part of something. And that's why it was so nice to run with Jade, because you feel like doubles is so much different to solos, because you feel like you're showing up for someone else and you can share the sort of load and the mental load as well. I think even like you guys singing in Chicago and meeting you for the first time was even with our warm up, it was so like much less pressure to it. We're just having fun, and it's like as much as it's very serious as well, and you want to do well, you kind of, especially with a friend like Jade. I mean, yeah, you know, Jade, she's just she's just a bundle of energy, and just you know, nothing is serious, but very much still fun at the same time. So yeah, that's kind of, I met Jay playing football, and then yeah, we touched base about 20 years later, really. And it was like, oh, we're doing this thing. Do you fancy cracking on? I'm like, yeah, cool. So that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like full circle, really, isn't it? Like, and I think you have hit the nail on the head with, I guess, the team aspect of doubles and that camaraderie and showing up for someone else. Like, I think that's why a lot of people enjoy it. Did it feel like that when you were racing in Hamburg? I guess that was like the first major for elite doubles. Did everyone still kind of feel like they were having fun in there for enjoyment, or did the tone change and it was serious? Because it's like twice as many girls,
Yeah.
like because there's 30 then like lining up on the start line. How did that feel?
For me, it was completely surreal, only because it was the second time, obviously, racing with Jade. The first race put us into the Elite 15, which is amazing in itself. Like I was just, and to be honest, I've kind of this year for me has been very much just saying yes to everything. I feel like I've trained for a long, long time and built this aerobic base, and sort of been in an endurance mindset, and always been ready, but never really known ready for what. Like I've run local races, and when Jade sort of asked me, it was just like the ability just to say yes confidently, knowing that I had enough fitness and that kind of mindset to not let her down as such, because I'd had my own stuff going on, and been confident, like winning different races, that like getting to that start line, for me it was like almost kind of staying in touch with the confidence that you have earned being there, but also going, okay, like enjoy this now, like embrace it. You might not get this opportunity again. And also all your mates are watching at home, like don't fall over, or don't like have a meme created about you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like your first time on screen or whatever. Like I wanted to have this fine balance of, right, take this seriously and do your best, but also do take the pressure off, do enjoy it, do high five Faisal as you run past, do like, you know, see your little nephew who's come all the way from England to support you, and your auntie, and well, you know, my sister. But yeah, my partner was there, and it was just and my parents came as well. Like it was just, it was making it like for them as well, like, and not because it's so easy. I get in my head so much that it's like, actually get out of your little bubble and make sure that you do, you know, you are present. Which I
Mm.
think is so hard, because it's easy to get in your heads when you train so hard. You want on the day everything to go well, and actually sometimes it doesn't. And I think that you have to just hope that it does as such, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and it is sometimes as well because it's that one day, and I mean, you just like hit the nail on the head with all like doing all your running races and things like that. Like you can't always be at your peak on that day. You can try as hard as you can, but it
Yeah,
doesn't mean, and especially in a doubles partnership as well, to have two of you peaking and have like the best race ever on that day, you do need also, I think there is a tad of luck that goes into it,
yeah,
and even just like not rolling your ankle because it was 6 laps or 5 laps or whatever it was, or like
yeah,
how did that feel being on the like on that circuit with like more laps and going
yeah.
past everyone all the time? Like, did it give you more of a buzz, or did you once you were in it, were you just in it like any other race and you just went into that zone?
The 5 laps was, it was a lot, and I did get to the farms carry, and I did have to sort of check myself and go, are we on the fourth or the fifth? And I looked over actually my partner, and thankfully she was on it, so she was like, go in. So we managed to just, and Jay was on it and stuff, so that was cool. But it was a fantastic setup. Like I think they the Elite 15 and Hyrox had made it into such a good setup. Like it was like, I
Mm.
felt very much grateful to be part of it. And but it was, I liked the fact that it was 5 laps, because actually I think what's talking to Jade in the start, that actually with the doubles, because it is so fast, sometimes it can feel like a massive gap if people have gone off ahead, and then that can kind of get in your head a bit. Whereas actually with 5 laps, everyone's sort of kind of running, and no one really knows where people are on the track. So you kind of, even if you are behind and you have been lapped or whatever, you're all in some kind of like a little bubble of energy together as such. So I think that doesn't really get in your head. But yeah, it was a lot of turning. And I think Gabby and Zara, because I was on the same flight with Zara on the way out and on the way back, and we were chatting on the way back and saying how they'd trained to do corners, because they knew that obviously there was going to be 5 laps, and I think that was quite cool and strategic by them to kind of think, actually, we are going to be doing quite short stints of 50-meter efforts with a turn as such. So yeah, it is there is strategy in looking obviously at the map and stuff beforehand and knowing where to go in and out and how many, you know, laps you're doing. I love Birmingham because there was 2 laps. I really enjoyed that because you got momentum. You had time to get full momentum. You knew that once you passed the in, it was the next in. Whereas with 5 laps, you energy is spent on thinking, right, I've never got to do. So yeah, that's why I liked that setup as such.
Was your partner in the coaches? Did you have somebody in the coaches box, like helping you with the laps? No.
No, they were just in the crowd. But I said to her beforehand, so please counter-correct. Because when you're fatigued, you think you're on your A game, but actually you're like, oh, you know, you've lost them now fingers. I was trying to go one because Jade, like, bless her, I love Jade to bits. But sometimes I'm like, oh, where are we at? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, oh. So it's hard, you know. And I think sometimes she'll say to me where we're at, and I'm like, I don't know. And I think with doubles, you've got to be, one person's got to be on it. I think at least if the other one isn't. And I think sometimes that throughout a race can be very much almost pass the baton, you know, and you just got to hope that you're on the same page as such.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was just going to say, when you get tired though, it is hard. It's like, even if you are the one that's usually on it, it only takes one thing and someone, you lose a bit of concentration. And like, I guess that's the good thing about having the coaches box, I guess, in the future for anyone, if it is laps, to have somebody there counting for you so you can take that pressure off yourself. But I just wanted to touch on, you just mentioned Gabby and Zara, and I've just like remembered your story on Instagram with them trying to get onto the flight with their massive check.
Like, I can't, like, the guy that was involved in that kind of conversation, like, he clearly had never been part of doing any sport or anything and didn't know the value and the kind of the you know, they had this check of £4,000 with them, and it's like, you want to take that home and put it on your wall and like display it, and he just wasn't having any of it. I think he was saying you've got to pay €100 or something like that. And yeah, my mum ended up getting involved and just like having this, like, basically saying, like, come on, like, do you not understand? So they ended up having to fold it into their suitcase, like, so yeah, it was just, I just thought, come on. But yeah, it was you've just gone and won a race and now you can't even get your check on the plane. It was like, come on, like, give them a break, man. They've just put like so much effort. And then the fact that the way that they won that, or they got into the third of that race, like, gosh, like, you know, I just want to go home with my check. Do you know what I mean? I just felt sorry for them, bless them.
Oh, so funny. I mean, whenever you get one of those big checks, you are like, how are you going to get it home? But I guess you always just want to know that the person that's checking you on the flight is like a sports fan or something that understands. But like, yeah, it did crap me up because you were like, what are they going to do with this check? And they just having this argument with the checking guy.
I was like, oh no. So yeah.
No, it feels so bad. And then touching on, like, you said kind of you felt like you were ready for anything, and you've obviously been training like for the majority of your life since young, from football and then moving into maybe more running. And like, how has your training changed from when you kind of said yes to the opportunity and you've now started to go down the Hyrox route? I mean, are you focused solely on Hyrox at the moment, or are you still like doing like running events, etc.? And how has the training changed over the time?
Yeah, I think I'm very much more now, I've got the Hyrox goal in mind. I'm very much kind of now thinking more about how to be fit for a certain race rather than just fit to run a 10k on the weekend. Like, there was a run in Southwold, which is sort of a couple of miles up the road, on the weekend, which in the past I wouldn't have missed. Like, I would have been very much focused on, oh, I'll go and do that. Or I was signed up to do Amsterdam Marathon on the 19th of October, and every part of me in the past, I'm like, well, I've signed up for it, so I've got to do it. But actually, I've kind of taken myself out of the sort of, made myself look at the bigger picture of, actually, if I'd have gone and done Amsterdam and trying to chase a sub 3, and then I wouldn't have probably performed the way I did in Birmingham. And it's like trying to actually look at, actually, in the space I'm in now and performing well, let's try and optimize on getting to start line in the best condition I can. I think in the past people have sort of said, what are you training for? And my answer has always just been life. Like, I think I've always just wanted to be ready for anything, and kind of like the march on, really. Like, I love like Ollie March on and what he promotes, and how, you know, you sort of what was it, like how your limits and stuff like that, you can push your limits. So there's a quote I was trying to think of in my head. I actually wore the jumper yesterday, I had it on the back, but how yeah, he's ready for anything basically. And I think that was my mindset towards training and competition always. And now I've got this incentive, especially having a partner like Jade, and now looking at solos too. I think my training is very much there's a program to it now with the help of Jade, with the help of Luke over at Airborne. I very much used to do a lot of zone 2, and as much as I still do zone 2, and I'm very much a massive advocate of it, I now think, right, okay, I need to start adding in the threshold runs and not be so sporadic with my training. Because I'd end up then overtraining or injured or ill, and actually, you know, it's good to you know that you can get to the start line knowing you've done the best you can and had a plan to it, rather than just winging it. I've winged it a lot as such, you know what I mean? Like, as I have, and I think actually coming to that with the pressure, taking the pressure off, like when I've got to certain races and I felt like I've winged it as such, actually there is kind of like a, not winged it, I've worked hard, but I've kind of got there and taken the pressure off and actually performed well because there's not been this big pressure on myself to perform as such.
Yeah, no, that.
Yeah, sometimes when you go all in on something and you say to yourself you're going all in, and everybody else, you almost feel that pressure because you have gone all in. Whereas if you're like, you're doing a bit and you are like, you know, you're doing your running and you're doing a bit of that, like there's less pressure because you haven't gone all in. But sometimes you have to go all in to see where you can get to and to push that potential. But with it comes pressure, whether it's self-imposed, I don't know.
100%. And I think I've always been somebody that trains really hard and will always be the last, you know, the hardest worker in the room. I've always been somebody who will go above and beyond and do the extra reps and sort of stay behind and do, you know, hours on the bike and everything else. But I think that, and because I've enjoyed doing it, and I think that I wanted to keep hold of that enjoyment of the person that I am, and it's in my DNA to move and it not be this kind of, right, you've got to do this and you've got to do that, and I still like to play by feel and have a plan and a guideline. But also, if I wake up and I'm not feeling like doing 10 miles of thresholds, then I'm like, right, okay, actually taking easy today, park that. I put it on my stories the other day actually about, you know, sometimes you're not going to feel like doing the session, you know, park it for another day, do a session that's going to keep your aerobic capacity, you know, peaking, but not, you know, not be too pressured on yourself to perform optimally all the time as such, because actually, you know, that can be a big detriment. I get like getting in your head is, you know, is for me, I'm such a little worrier. And I think with Birmingham, I didn't tell anyone really about it, and a lot of my friends were like, oh, we didn't know you were doing Birmingham, and it's like, oh, but actually it worked in my favor just to get the start line and just go, let's just go do it because I get to do it, and because I've paid, you know, because you paid to go there and whatever, and just enjoy it for what it is. And I think then you release yourself from this imposter syndrome of all these athletes around you, and you just go and run because you can. I think then, you know, takes that weight off you physiologically and psychologically, sorry. And yeah, it just, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that it makes sense. They like definitely. And I wanted to ask about, I guess maybe it is more the mental journey from Chicago to Birmingham, because like I don't want to put words in your mouth, but maybe Chicago wasn't the race that you were hoping for your pro solo, but then to come back in Birmingham, so I think, was it a 106 in Chicago, and then in Birmingham you just done a 101, like, which is incredible. And how, like, whether it was your mind or your physical ability, like kind of what changed and what also like made you pick yourself up after Chicago and then come back and race in Birmingham?
I started to think a lot about my sort of recovery and also my mindset. I was listening to Zara's podcast as well on, I think it was the one she did with you, or with Rock's Life, but she was talking, I was on a run one day and I put her on whilst I was running, and she was talking a lot about Steve Magnus and about mindset. And there's a book he said it's like about winning without limits or something like that, and a lot about how you can kind of get in your own head, like I was talking about, and taking that taking sport for what it is, and that actually I've had this year a lot of people close to me and my family that have either become unwell or, and I know, without getting too deep, I think we get to do this and one day we won't get to do this. And I think for me it was just coming away from it and seeing it as a thing to enjoy, seeing it that actually one race doesn't define you. I think for me it was, I've always got to show up a certain way because you're Kat and you always do well and you always win races and you do this, and it's actually like, but actually sometimes we don't, and that's okay. And I think that it's getting into that mindset of, right, I'm going to get to the start line in the best condition I can. If it goes well, brilliant, but if it doesn't, park it, understand what went wrong, what you could have done better, and then jump back on the horse as soon as you can and get back into the training. But don't get on the next race as soon as you can, because I think that's what's difficult as well. Is I think we put ourselves under this pressure of like, well, I've got to go run another race now and prove that I can do it. And actually it's coming away, adapting, doing the training that you need to do, building your mental like strength back up, and then getting to the start line and going, right, okay, let's go again now. And I think yeah, for me in Chicago, massive pressure. I think there was obviously the travel distance, the 9-hour gap, but I think for me, I got up at 4 a.m. and I was having carbs, and then I was having too much drink, and then I was worried about everything that I could, and I was so nervous on the start line. I think my stomach was already in knots before I got to the ski erg, and then every pull I could just feel my abs sort of tightening, and I was thinking, oh, like I felt just I lost myself before even the start, like got over the start line. And I think that the difference between Birmingham like that and Birmingham was just that very much I get to do this, and one day I won't, and embrace the position you're in, like, and chatting to Kate Hutchinson, who'd also done the Elite 15, she was on the start line with me, and Gabby had already run, and they're such brilliant girls. That's what I love about Hyrox as well. Everyone's like in their own little like world of wanting to do like good for themselves, but everyone's just rooting for everyone. Like we're all just, we know we've got to start line, we know we've all got this mindset and this ability to perform well, and we're all this like, we're not, as I was saying, not normal, but we've all got this kind of unique ability to want to push our potential, and that's a very unique thing. And so it's like, yeah, kudos, you've trained really hard to get here, kudos, so have you, but then go to war with ourselves and almost like be sort of, as you go around the course, trying to egg each other on at the same time. And I remember in the Elite 15 doubles that Zara and Gabby had picked up the kettlebells to do the farms carry, and I was going around for the last lap, and I was like, come on, girls, like you want everyone to do well. And I think, that shows at the finish line as well, when everyone's huddled together and hugging each other. Like at the end of a football game, everyone would like, you go and handshake them, but then you wouldn't chat to, do you know what I mean? It's so different. Whereas Hyrox, everyone just loves each other, and it's all just one big party of adrenaline.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's almost like shared pain, isn't it? It's like everyone's endured the same pain,
Yeah.
whether someone's won or whether someone's a minute off or whether like you're the last pair through. Like everyone knows that everyone's endured the pain and pushed their limits, because
Yeah.
like, and I think that comes across in Hyrox as a whole. Like it doesn't matter whether someone's an Elite 15 athlete or someone's doing it for the first time. By the time everyone crosses that finish line, everyone's given it everything they could.
Yeah.
Everyone's hated the burpees for a moment. Everyone's got to the sleds and thought, oh my god, I'm only at the sleds. Like everyone's got to the wall balls and wondered how they can get to like that 100th wall ball. Like it doesn't matter your ability, it's almost like the fact everyone's gone through that shared experience that I think is bringing everyone together.
Yeah, 100%. And it is, and I actually listened to this guy TM Cycles. I don't know actually his name, but on Instagram is TM Cycles, and he put a post out the other day saying Hyrox is ruining the fitness industry. And then he went to basically, this was a quote that someone had said, and he basically just destroyed it and said like how this Hyrox is something that's come into play that everyone can get involved in. It's so inclusive, and it's, for me as well, as a person, people ask why do you coach and why do you, and it's just to inspire and be around people, and Hyrox is just doing that for so many people. Even my dad said the other day, would you do one with me? I'm like, yes mate, of course I will. Like it's someone who's not really massively into sport, but like it's helping people of every age just go, do you know what, I can move my body and feel good, and that's literally all it's all about, and some are better than others, but ultimately everyone just wants everyone to have a good time and do well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then from like a coach and massage therapist perspective, would you have any advice for our listeners who are training? Like the season's just kicked off, so a lot of people are like getting right into their training, working towards their races, of like how they can take care of their bodies a little bit better whilst they're smashing out their threshold sessions, getting the sleds and the wall balls in, like doing their strength training. Any tips or places to focus on?
Yeah, I think for me, massage wise, I think it's always good to have. I've got one scheduled every other week, purely because I think it's just a check-in with myself. It's also a chance for me to just lie horizontal, and it's I mean, it doesn't happen very often until I go to bed, but it's good to get some tissue work, to really release areas that a massage gun can't really do. And also just to talk one-to-one with someone and get to know with that person and get them, they know your body too and can sort of work on the areas of weakness, just so then range of movement's better. You've also can then think, right, I've psychologically ticked that box. I know that I've kind of allowed myself that time to stay in tune with my body and sort of work on those things that aren't so great. But also for me, I bought the Pulsio boots, the compression boots, about 6 months ago. They've been amazing. Like after long runs, like long sort of endurance days, I spend a long time doing a lot of sort of zone 2. I've always just done hours of sort of checking out with same like Charlie Bottrell, looking at his training sessions and stuff. And you look at him and like, you are savage. I thought I was like, I trained a lot, and I looked at his schedule, so I'm mate. But those have been really, really effective. I'll wear them for an hour, like, as many nights a week I can, really, whilst I'm watching an episode of Traitors or whatever. And then magnesium flake baths I find really effective. I've also started to go in the sauna, like frequently, most days, really, sort of doing that's after sort of talking with Jade as well. And really helping the sort of vasodilation and constriction of the tissues, flushing out all the lactate. I think that's really important. Again, it's also 10 minutes over, well, 10 minutes on, 2 minutes off. That I've been doing that sort of 3 times. And that's sort of half an hour that I'm, again, just sitting at peace with myself in a sauna. And, there's no other distractions. And that for me has been really kind of meditative and very therapeutic to kind of just be at one with myself. And I think that's what I haven't been either. I've very much gone, right, okay, next day to the next. And I think that's been really good to kind of just have some time to reflect. And so yeah, I think those are the things that I've really kind of thought about, mainly just listening to your body as well. I read something the other day of saying, listen to your body, otherwise it will stop talking to you. And I think that's been really powerful, because actually we only get one body, and you've got to sleep when you're tired and eat when you're hungry, and actually just playing in tune with it more. So yeah, I think those have been the key things, really.
Yeah, no, that's so good.
Yeah.
You talk about zone 2
Yeah,
and a lot of zone 2. Cool, we've got to get onto this now. And you brought up Charlie Bottrell, that everyone knows is the king of zone 2. And I know I always see you on, like, you're on a watt bike a lot and a C2 bike, and I know you obviously like your zone 2 stuff with an endurance background in running, and you're an incredibly fast runner. How did you structure your training before Hyrox with like the running volume and using, I'm guessing, the bike? Did you use ergs before, or was it just the bike and running? And then how did that help you in Hyrox? Because you've obviously come into Hyrox as a very strong runner, and we all know it's a runner's game. Like, how's that helped you? And is there any tips for people that maybe are trying to improve their running for Hyrox from yourself with years of running experience?
Yeah, I would almost get mocked sometimes, the amount of time I spend on the zone 2, on the like Concept 2 bike, just because I'd get up and I'd do an hour on it before the day start. Most days I would do 14 plus hours a week on a bike, just doing zone 2, without question, 2 hours a day. I'd call it admin spinning back then, because it was just, I'd just do my admin on the bike. Like, I just reply to emails and sort of, get kill 2 birds with 1 stone with it. But like, I think this aerobic base is built over years. Like, you don't just get that just by doing a couple of hours of zone 2 and just going, right, I've done it now, I've built my base. And it's like, no, you have to it is something that you build over a period of time, and then once you've got it, you don't really lose it. You just kind of check in. So if you get injured or ill or whatever, I think I looked at Jake Dearden's post actually today, and he was chatting about zone 2 and the amount that he does, and I think it's just, for me, it's doing zone 2 as much as you can. There's obviously a limit to it, and I mean there's time limits as well. People have jobs and lives and everything else. You're not going to be sitting on a bike like consistently all day long, but I think it's important to do zone 2 more than, it's almost like if you think you're not doing enough zone 2, you're not doing enough zone 2, basically. I think it's something that can really help with training. A lot of people spend too much time doing zone sort of 4 or 5 work, then spending too much time trying to recover, whereas with zone 2 you don't really need much time to recover. You're building, you know, your mitochondria in your cells, you're flushing out the lactate, you're staying in tune and sort of helping with the circulation. There's so many benefits to zone 2 that and keeping your heart healthy and everything else. Yeah, I'm a massive advocate. I think 85%, 80 to 85% of a week should be in zone 2. And 15 should be, and everyone's different though. I think that's a massive thing as well. It's what works best for you. If someone said to me, no, that's wrong, I'll go, okay, cool. Like, I'm not going to change it because it's been working for me. Whereas you get Linda Meyer, she's doing 8 hours a week, if that training, she's probably doing 50-50. She'll probably do 50% of that time is in zone 2. She's still doing the same amount of time as I would be in zone 4 and 5, but I'm just spending loads of other time in zone 2 because that's just who I am. That works fine for her. She's a world champion, like, you can't question that. So I think everyone's different. Everyone, you know, can come to the party with their own kind of advice, but I think it's fine tuning it, time trialing it, and understanding your own body.
Yeah. And you talk a lot about the bike. Like, are you talking it's better because of the impact of running, it's better to use the bike, but can people use a rower, a ski, a stepper? Like, is it an elliptical? Is there a reason you choose the bike, or is it just ease and you can do admin while you're on a bike, where it's a bit harder if you want to cross trainer?
I've always loved biking as well. I think actually one physio said to me, because I've done my ACL in 2022, and he was just like, you just go on the bike and just focus on that non-weight bearing stuff. I also trained for the 2019 marathon for 6 months, just biking and doing cross training, just to prove to clients that you don't have to run to be a runner. And I kind of done it quite drastically, but it was basically saying there's so many other modalities and disciplines that you can sort of focus on away from running, focusing on the strength training in the gym to making sure that you've still got that strength in your glutes and your bigger tissues. But the fact that you can keep that aerobic capacity and that cardiovascular fitness just by doing cycling and other sort of training, and managed to get PB in the 2019 London Marathon with that, luckily by 28 seconds, because I really wanted to prove a point. But it was I've just loved cycling. I've always been I think since playing football and building good sort of legs and stuff, I've always enjoyed the bike because I've got good leg strength, I think. But I think you can, you know, when I was at a commercial gym, I used to go on the cross trainer quite a bit, but a lot of it was trying to be on my phone to reply to things as well. And on a rower, you can't really do that, or a skier. So, and I'm not really a fan of skiing. It's quite doing that for more than 5 minutes is like, do I need to be here for that? Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's all relatable. It's all just finding what you enjoy. But if you can stay in that area of sort of 60%, 70% heart rate, you know, and getting a good heart rate monitor. My watch, like, you know, having something like a chorus heart rate. I wore it for Birmingham, and it was good to see, you know, actual realistic heart rate times. Don't just focus on your wristwatch. You know, get yourself a strap on your chest, or the chorus one on your arm. Something that's going to give you realistic results is important. And also at the end of a race, when you can check in and go, yeah, actually, shit, I was in zone 5 for an hour. You know, then doesn't matter what time or what effort what position you've come in, you know you've given your best effort, and that's enough.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. When you did look back on your heart rate data from Birmingham, did you feel like it correlated your output, and did you, I don't know how you pace a race personally, but did the kind of graph steadily go up and then just stay there, or what did it look like for you? How well was your graph paced?
It was, I think most Hyroxes, there's no steady up, it's just up. Just get in the hole from the get-go, and then just especially because some of the girls go off like they go off straight away, and it's so hard not to just chase. I prefer chasing, and in Birmingham I didn't check. I was first from the sled push all the way to the lunges, and then Charlie overtook me in the lunges, and it was like shit, because you kind of then when you're in the lead, you kind of have to think, am I going as fast as I could? Because naturally then when she overtook me, I started to then pick up a bit of pace, and I was like, shit, I've still got stuff left inside me. Like it's hard to pace when you're out in front, because yeah, I just prefer a chase. I've always just preferred being, you know, the one almost second to sort of just stick behind and then sort of have that little extra to overtake in the last bit. But yeah, I think my heart rate was well up there from sky high from the get-go, and I think that yeah, I think I kind of knew it was going to be. I think when you start to taste blood and stuff, you know that you're do you know what I mean? Like when you finish the ending and you know you've pushed yourself to complete max, you know your stats are going to be in playing ball with that, just because intuitively you know that's where you're at. But yeah, Hyrox is just putting, especially solo, it's putting yourself right in a hole from the get-go and just telling yourself you're going to be okay for an hour, basically, or an hour, about an hour as such. But
Yeah,
I love
no.
it. It's weird, just it's such a sadist feeling, isn't it? But we just keep going back. Like you think about 5 hours after, it's like, oh, that was awful, and then like it's like, right, when's the next one? So
Yeah, no, totally. And then you talked about not doing the Amsterdam Marathon because you're
yeah.
obviously putting like the focus on Hyrox. Do you think you can train for a marathon and train to perform at your best in Hyrox? Do you think it's possible to do both?
Yeah, Jake Dearden's doing it in a minute. He's trying to get a sub 2:19 or something.
Yeah.
19 in Houston. He's savage. Like, I think it's definitely possible. I think if you can add a long run into your week, I think the Hyrox and marathons relate. I think it's I've always been someone to train long. I'm not a track person. I think Hyrox is definitely made for the Sinead Bents of the world, the people that have grown up on a track, have gone to the meets and the cross country races that are under 5K. Because those fast twitch fibers, you know, the people like Holly Archer and Sophia on the weekend, they got like a 56 minutes in their first race because they both can run sub 16-minute like 5Ks. So coup flipping dos, because they've trained themselves to then adapt to a sport. And I think most of the elite people that get to a start line are people that have been brilliant in a different endurance sport, and Hyrox has just kind of complemented that. But yeah, I definitely think that marathons and Hyrox are in tune, basically because the wall balls, I was thinking this actually when I was in Birmingham, is the wall balls are like the last 10K of a marathon. Like, you know it's going to hurt. You've got there now, and it's like the last part, and you can see the ending, and you've just got to plug yourself in and just go, right, I've trained so I can tolerate this feeling, and then just get to the end, basically. But yeah, I definitely in true Kat Parnell style of making one answer lasts about 5 minutes. Yes, this is the answer.
I do think it's interesting though, and you're right. Like Jake's trying to do the two together, and then I was just interested because you obviously you decided not to do Amsterdam. That I thought whether maybe you thought, oh, going for like a longer distance, especially with your background, maybe you need to do more speed work. But I like your analogy of the wall balls at the end. It is a bit like a marathon, I guess, because you feel like you're not getting anywhere, but you are. But like at the end of a marathon, you feel like the finish is like so far, but it's so close, and you're just not getting there. Whereas I think it's the same with the wall balls, isn't it? You're like, oh, fuck, I still got loads
in your head. And I said to myself, like, I got the 100 unbroken in Birmingham, and I said to myself, if you can get to 50, you can go unbroken. And I think that last 50 or last 40, like, it's just going, right, I've done more now than I've got to go. Because once the 51st rep's in, you're like, right, I've got less more than I have done. And it's just then going, it's just in your head. You just got to break it down and just embrace the crowd around you. And luckily I had a judge that was just shouting so much positive energy to me. It was just awesome. And that's again, it's a luck thing, because sometimes you can get judges that aren't on your side. And it is yeah, I think it's I do want to focus more on the speed work, but marathons, I'm definitely not done with a marathon. Yeah. Strava, I was on my side in the London Marathon, gave me a 2:59.59, which I was buzzing about, but my actual time was 3:02, so I'm still chasing sub-3. But I looked at my Strava straight away and I was like, yes. But that was my Strava time, so yeah, there's lots of debate whether Strava's an actual time or not. But I'm taking it for 1 second.
I'd take that for sure.
Oh my God, I know.
Yeah.
You need Strava on your side at all times. And then I guess I'm interested in, like, because we're talking a bit about running, the difference between your running in a solo and your running in a doubles. Like, is there a large pace difference? And like, do you train specifically for both? I mean, guess this is maybe going to go into another question of like what the season kind of is looking like for you as well. But yeah, how do you differentiate like your run for solo and your run for doubles?
We're actually looking at the stats of this, like to see how and the run wasn't very different from, I mean, I've only run 2 doubles races, and I've actually only run 5 solos over since last November 2024. So I've not actually done that many races when they've all been sort of compartmentalized over like 2-3 month periods, really. Like the race before Birmingham was from Chicago, so I hadn't done that, you know, I've not been to many start lines to kind of like have a look too much into pacing. I just always run as hard as I can in that moment in time. And I think with doubles, you have got that little time to compose yourself, but actually the intensity is so much higher. So you go into the run probably same fatigued as if you were solo in a weird way, because actually you've had almost like your heart rate's at the same level because you're almost like intervaling, but you come out of it, unless you're the last person off it, you're going to have a little bit of rest, but you're still going to have to allow your partner to keep up with you as such. So I think for me, the running is pretty similar. I think that doubles is very much favoured for the faster runners because obviously then you can share the discipline. So people that are better runners and can do, like I said, like the sort of sub 16-minute 5Ks, which I'll never get. Like I don't think I'll ever be able to do a sub 60-minute 5K, but I think for those faster runners who have focused a lot more time on their running and are not as much stronger as the other girls as such, then they're better at maybe the doubles because they can share the discipline as such. I don't know. Like I think it's all very it's such a big debate because even looking at Charlie's stats, who came second into Birmingham, it was a great race between us, but I pretty much won all the workouts and she won all the runs. I think there was only the 3rd run that I beat her on. So it's fascinating with Hyrox because it is almost going as fast as you can on the run that's not going to cause a detriment to your workout. You know what I mean? And it's always it's always going, well, where can I get faster? Like, but not then get slower too much on my workout. So it is so. That's why everyone goes back to it, don't they? Because they're always trying to fine tune it every different bit without having too much of I got better on the sled push, but then my next run was 10 seconds slower. So is it better to go a little bit slower on my sled push? And, you know, yeah. So, yeah, again, I think it's doubles and solo. I think you just train same. I think the run is just as hard solo as it is doubles.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Like, and it is interesting. And like you said, I mean, your heart rate's it's up there, it's high. Like whichever race you're doing, you're pushing as hard as you can. It's just in different styles, like more interval style or more just threshold for a longer period of time. No, it's like very good point. So what is the next? Right, I mean, you don't have to share if you don't want to.
Oh no, I'm happy to share.
The next race or the next plans for the season are and what you're kind of aiming for.
So we've got Dublin coming up. We were supposed to be doing Stuttgart, but after talking, we were like, do we want to do Birmingham, Stuttgart, Dublin, like 3 weekends on the bounce? And I was actually chatting to Gabby Moriarty about it on the weekend because unfortunately she dropped out of. It was her story to share, but in Stuttgart, she unfortunately had to drop out, and because she's got a 101 in Birmingham as well. Like I think as athletes, so we have this kind of pressure to want to just chase and times and everything, and you lose then the meaning behind it. And I think Gabby had done like Rome. She'd done what? I think she'd done Maastricht, Rome, Hamburg, Birmingham, and then went into Stuttgart, and she'd run like 5 races in the space of 6 weeks. And it was like, mate, and the girl is phenomenal, and she's such an amazing human being as well. And she just said, like, you can get so caught up in wanting to go to the next race and do your better time and ride this wave of adrenaline, and actually sometimes your body goes, right, we're not, like, you've got to stop now. So for me with Jade, like, that was why I said to, well, not the Gabby thing, but I knew myself that probably that's why I didn't do the Amsterdam Marathon. I thought, right, just go at things knowing that you want to go at your best. So the next is Dublin. Hopefully we can be at our best for that. Like, we're going to race on the Thursday, and then I'm going to do the solo on the Saturday. I found racing with Jade 2 days after a solo in Chicago, the DOMs I had were ridiculous. Like, I couldn't walk down the stairs getting to the start line. I was thinking, oh my gosh, like, I was like, how am I going to run? But then you just go, don't you? And you just deal with it later. But so I'll just take my boots with me to Dublin, my Pulsio boots, and just hope that my legs can recover after the doubles. But yeah, I think it's they're the races to come. Again, I'm very much in a mindset though of not too much pressure. I think I performed the best when I've just taken the pressure off. Glasgow, I did a 102.50, and 2 of the girls that I coached came with me, and they raced on the same start line. I had a really bad cold that day. So I was just like, just go do it, just turn up to have fun. I wasn't even going to race. We got on the plane that morning to Glasgow and raced in the afternoon, and ended up having one of the best races, because I was just like, just go run, like, don't overthink it. Like, so did the same with Birmingham, and that's what I want to do for Dublin and probably most of my races now going forward, and just see it for a race that I get to do. That if it works out, brilliant. If it doesn't, then cool too. Like, no one's going to look at me and go, oh, did you see Kat's race? Like, people look at it for 5 seconds on Instagram and go, cool story, and then crack on with their lives. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so, but I think in our heads, it's like the world's going to end if, or like something really bad's going to happen. And it's just like, no, sometimes your body's playing ball, and especially with us females. And I've listened to podcasts like loads, and there's, with Stacey Sims and how our bodies play ball and our hormones and everything like that. To have a good race, you need everything to be aligned, and if it's not, you can't actually control it. So you just gotta hope that even the judge is on your side. Like, I fist pumped my judge in Birmingham after the sled push, because she really called me out for stepping over a line. And I was like, yeah, do you know what? Fair play, and just fist pumped her. And then she was with me with the wall balls, and she like was amazing. And I thought, yeah, actually just respect the judges, make friends with them. They're just doing their job. Because actually down the line, they might come back at you and go, come on, like, don't drop the ball. And you're like, I needed that. So yeah, I think it's that's the races to come. I'd love to be in the Elite 15 for either solo or doubles. If it doesn't happen for Melbourne, then I hope to happen Phoenix or Warsaw. Like, I'd love to stay in this bubble for as long as possible. I also realise I'm 34. I've only got one knee, like one ACL. So it's just like, for me, it's enjoying it. I think, a lot of, without getting, like I said, too deep again, like, I think it's easy to be sort of thinking about one race to the next, and actually it's just about embracing the whole bubble. I've visited so many countries this year, and it's been awesome. Like, and that's been a big part of it too. It's just, and made loads of friends. Like, it's cool. I miss that. Like, when you're running races on your own and setting up to the start lines, 10Ks and the marathons, it's such a solo journey. Whereas with Hyrox, I've made loads of friends on Instagram, and when you go to races, it's really cool.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great perspective, like, to have as well, and it does mean you enjoy the process, you enjoy the journey. Like, you have other reasons to be at these races than just the finishing time at the end, because like you say, it can be it can go your way and it can't go your way, and a lot of that's sometimes out of your control anyway. So yeah, I think it's a great perspective to have on racing. Sorry, Faye, I jumped in there.
No, I just agree. And I was going to say, it's like similar to Zara, isn't it? She said, like, she took a step back to work out her why, and like why she does it, and what, like, and I think it is sometimes you just got to work out why you're doing it, and I think we're very aligned in the same thing, as like we've always said, like do it while you can, and like there's no reason why someone can't do something, but one day it might just get taken away from you. And we've watched people we love have the opportunities taken away from them, and you're like, well, you've got the opportunity now. And when you get injured, you would just wish you were there at the start line, even if you knew you could just do it to finish. You just want to be in that environment. So when you're there, why put so much pressure on yourself to get that? Yeah, just let it go and just be like, I'm so grateful to be standing on this start line, able to race, and I'm just going to enjoy the moment. But it's hard to not get caught up in that. Sometimes you do need to check yourself, or
I think it takes us also, I think it takes an injury or it takes illness to put you in that mindset. Even like Megan Jacobi, I mean, she smashed out what 58 minutes
58.
and her comeback, and I think it takes that setback to then understand, you know, the meaning behind it and stuff. And it shouldn't take that. But it's like when you get ill, like nothing else in the world matters in that moment other than getting better. And do you know what I mean? Like all the stresses in the world go out because all you're worried about is being able to walk to the toilet. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like it's bad that it takes that, but it does take that. And I think that that's definitely the mindset I'm in about most sport nowadays, is that I get to, and that I want to inspire as many people as I can to get into sport. It's so good for our mental health. The world we live in is so 100 miles an hour. We're not born for the pace that we live at, and so people are finding things to as stimuluses to, oh, not stimuluses, stimulants to kind of like detract from the energy that we're consistently trying to keep up with. And it's like sport and exercise and movement is so profound in helping, like, I think, be able to deal with that. And I think Hyrox bringing people together is one thing as a community, but also being able to chase that potential and race, like lose yourself in races like that and find your potential is such a profound, like amazing personal journey that I think everyone should go on. I think it's just, it allows you to see life with a different perspective, I think.
And sometimes being in like through discomfort, because we are so comfortable, our lives are so comfortable now, you know, you can order anything online, you've got like, you can sit on the sofa all day, like you get in your car and you drive, like to put yourself in that discomfort and actually push yourself. I think a lot of people look for that and look for a way to like put in the hard work to get something out of it, so you feel that achievement, which is another part of it, isn't it? And I guess that's where like running's come from, and like all the run clubs and stuff like that as well. It's just like people being able to see what potential they have, because life can be super easy if you want it to be. You can sit back and never work out what your potential is. But
I think that comes back to the start line thing about being in tune and being friends with people that you're up against, is because you know they've got the same mindset as you. They've done the same work and got to, so it's almost like a mental high five with that person. Be it racing against them, you're like, yeah, you're the same person as me. You're a bit of a sadist too, and you do the extra work, and you spend time focusing on what macros are going to be optimal for you to get to that start line. You know, you go through that same battle day in, day out of how can I get better. And I think that's very much I think you're often born with that. I think most people that are in that elite field are born with that ingrained kind of energy about them, that they want to just push themselves consistently until they can't. And I think whilst riding that wave throughout life of being that person, it's finding the whys, but also making sure you check in with yourself. I made sure after Birmingham that I went straight to my family's house, went straight to my mum and dad, and just embraced that feeling of winning for a period of like a couple of days, because I never used to do that. It was straight back, right, what can I do now, like, and it was like I never embraced the small wins as such. I think you've got to do that whilst you're on this, like, anyway, path as such, without going off on a tangent. But
I think it's important. It's a really good point as well. I think a lot of people don't. The fast-paced world, everyone does just race for the next thing and then look for the next. Okay, I won, I did well, but I could improve here, and like almost not look at the positive fact that you've just done an incredible time. You've won, you've achieved what you've worked for a really long time, but we strive for more. So what can we do to be better?
You spend day in, day out, like literally fine-tuning your programming. You get to a race which is an hour long, and then after it, it's like you say, you spent so long to get to this point, achieve this feeling, and it's like try and feel it and really feel it, and like you say, and then like have a period of time where then you can kind of allow your central nervous system to come back down and then build up again. Yeah, life goes too fast. I've got memories come back on my Facebook from like 20 years ago, and I'm like, how is that 20 years ago? Like, I think 20 years ago is 1980, like, and it's not.
No, it's so. I saw something the other day that was like, oh, like people born in 2000 or something are like 25 now, and it's like
Yeah.
you still feel like, oh, when everyone was building up to the millennium, but it's like, oh, but people that were born in the millennium are now 25, and it's like, oh my God, actually really old.
Well, that probably
Terrifying.
leads us quite nicely onto, it might feel a long time ago, but what message or advice would you give to your younger self?
Yeah.
Or the next generation of girls coming up in 2025? Because we've come a long way since we were all young girls.
Yeah, I think for me it is being present, especially I find my phone's on me all the time, and I think everyone's is, isn't it? And it's just yeah, I think one of my friends had tattooed like be who you are and say how you feel, because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. And I think that's profound, because I've grown up as a tomboy, and I've always kind of tried to find myself, and actually when you are happy with who you are and everything else and do the work around that, and I think Jade's done a lot of that too, and I think that's why we're very kind of aligned, is that you can then perform at your best, and you then don't invite the people around you that are gonna sap who you are. Do you know what I mean? I think it's being, you don't have to have lots of friends. I think I say that as well. You just got to have a few people that have got your back and support you, and that allow you to be yourself, because then you can put the energy into the things that you love and live your life. Like, I think that's so cliche, live your life, but you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that's my advice. Stop worrying about what people think about you.
Yeah, it's so true though, isn't it? When you stop worrying about what people think about you, you actually can do better. And I think that like that's such a good point, because I think when you're younger, you always want like the most friends, and you're like, you want to be friends with everyone, and you want to be liked by everyone. I remember this like at school, and you're like, oh, I've got to be friends with everyone, or I don't think they like me, but actually when you get older you realize you just need the right people around you, and actually having less friends isn't a bad thing, because you can't be liked by everyone. Not everyone's going to agree with what you do, and not everyone's going to have the same attitude towards things. You know, most people will be like, what the hell is she doing on a bike for 14 hours a week, you know?
Well, they say why, and then they ask how. Like, that's the
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like but then I listened to Alex Hormozy on the Modern Wisdom with Chris Williamson the other day, and it was like, it'd say there's something like, why, they'd ask why you're working so hard, and then when you win they ask why you're working so hard. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's that it's actually, they're just people that are on it and get it will get it, and that's cool, and it's spending time around people that get it, I think. And I'm lucky enough to work in an environment where people get it, and that's why I love being a coach as well, is that I get to race knowing that people are supporting me who get it, but also come back to an environment 2 days later and know that the people around me going, I did this today because of you. And that's, again, that fills you with so much energy, and that pumps you up for the next race, and it's all this never-ending fulfilling cycle of just love and energy, which is awesome.
No, it's such a good answer. Yeah, I love it.
And like the purpose there.
Yeah, absolutely. So where can people follow your journey, and also find out about coaching if you've got any availability, or which gym are you at, or where can everyone just find out more about everything you're doing?
Well, it's just my name on Instagram, but I work for Airborne Fit. They're on Instagram as well. I think Airborne Fit Official. We run classes, and I go to a couple of classes a week, mainly because a lot of my training is done on my own. And I go, like tonight, there's 42 people booked onto the class, and I'll just go to just be around people and high five, fist bump as many people as I can, because I think that's so important to have that feeling of connection. So we run classes throughout the week here, and also I've just opened up some Hyrox programming, just to help people that sort of want to get into Hyrox to understand that You don't have to just do loads of specific Hyrox training, or you don't have to do loads of running. It's just trying to find a program that suits you and that you can go into the gym and know exactly what to do next. I think a lot of people sort of end up overtraining or thinking they've got to do this, this, and this, and actually it's just, you've got to just make sure you are doing a strength session, a Hyrox specific session, and some threshold and sort of zone 2 basically. But it's fine tuning what works best for an individual. So yeah, I'm just doing that. There's you can just message me on Instagram about that. But ultimately I just want to help people, I guess if people want to come and follow me, that's all my Instagram's about really, is just trying to inspire and trying to help people get in the game and enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's the most important bit. Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's
that's the main message for sure. Well, we'll link everything in the notes so people know where to come. And we really appreciate your time, you sharing your story and the ups and downs, and and your attitude towards it all, because I think it's great and what a lot of people need to hear. So thank you very much. Good luck in Dublin and for any other races to come. And we'll probably see you there, because I think we're going to head over.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Yeah.
I think you guys don't get enough thanks, because you're bringing the community, especially females, together and allowing people to just tune in and kind of get lots of insight from people that we might not be able to. And I think that's cool, because a lot of us sort of female athletes are on the same page. And so yeah, kudos to you guys for doing what you're doing as well.
Appreciate it. I think when you said having time away from your phone, and like everyone has their phone on them, and I always have my phone on me, and I think these conversations and doing the podcast is probably one of the nicest things, because we do, like, my phone's on airplane mode, don't look at my phone, and we just get to engage in a conversation and talk to people like you that you want to pick their brains. And it's just it's one of like my favorite things to do. I think I feel like so incredibly lucky to be able to reach out to you guys and then learn a bit more about you.
Yeah, likewise. It's cool. It's it's been connected, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully people listening get a lot from it as well, and like can hear that people are going through the same thing. I think that's one of the main things, is like, you think, oh, is it just me that feels like this, or like am I the only one that like puts this pressure on myself, or gets nervous on the start line, or feels like they need to take a step back for a minute? But actually, like, everyone's going through it, everyone's in the same position, and we're all just like in this little bubble together, and also a little bit odd for putting ourselves through the pain, but but no, on that note, thank you very much, and thank you to everyone listening. Hopefully you have enjoyed this episode with Kat.